a grade school program. As you can see, before we start or do anything, I'm already noticing a cinchy, tight, nervous horse. She's already snorting and blowing. None of that matters. We're gonna start in kindergarten. In kindergarten, it's simply respect, okay? If we can't get her respect, we won't be able to get her attention. If we don't have her attention, why are we gonna try to teach her anything? The way that we're gonna gain her respect is this. In kindergarten, to pass the test, all she has to do is stay out of my bubble and back up lightly with no pressure. So I'm gonna walk her off like this, and whenever she's not prepared, I'm gonna stop and turn. Since she stops, I don't add any pressure. Then I'm gonna ask her to back up. Now I plan on getting her through a lot of her discomforts today and insecurities today, but to do so, I have to keep myself safe. If she doesn't respect me, whenever I try to desensitize her or show her anything, I'll be in harm's way. Anybody in the history of horses who has ever been ran over, and we may even have some of those folks in the history books right here today in front of us, if you've ever been ran over by a horse, the horse respected whatever they were worried about more than they respected you. And whether that's jumping in or out of a trailer, going in and out of a stall door, a horse kicking out of them on the trail, whatever their excuse is, at that given moment, they respected whatever they were afraid of more than they respected you. And we don't want that to happen to us. Now, we don't have to get a bad out or do horrible things or go crazy. We just simply have to stop her and back her up. So backing is the most submissive motion a horse can give. Horses are built and designed to run forward. She'd rather run forward 100 yards than to back up a few steps. So when she backs up easily, notice we always start asking nicely, then we give a warning, then we add pressure. And throughout our program, you're gonna see the same repetition. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate the effort. Everything we do in this program, and this whole clinic today, is a Q&A. Feel free to stop and ask any questions at any time. But every single thing that we do is thought through and then thought through again. So you can't ask us a question about a step that we take, a movement, or the way that we grab that we haven't fully thought through. Whenever we walk off like this, I understand for centuries, people have been taught. Is that better? All right. So for centuries, people have been taught to grab right under the buckle. People grab and walk them like this. If we walk this horse like this, if she gets spooked at anything off to our right, what's gonna happen to us? She has no chance, nothing else to do but to run us over. The other thing that does is, if you ever put a new horse out into a group of horses, anytime, any breed, pick your poison. The first thing they do is they come up to each other and they smell each other. The thing that happens next is they take off running, bucking, and kicking. And we like to play it up like, oh, how cute, they're cutting up. Folks, they're not cutting up. They're deciding who's on top of the totem pole. And whether it takes 20 minutes, keep kicking, keep squealing. Keep it up until they figure it out. As soon as they figure out who's the alpha and who are the betas, then they go back to their favorite job, eating your money, getting fatter. Yes, ma'am, you have a question? She asked, what happens if the horse is in front of you instead of behind you, that you're pulling back on it? Okay, so if this horse was to run off in front of us, we would want to disengage her hindquarters. She runs off in front, we want to pull her back and have her face us. If you take one mantra away from this hour that I have with you guys, remember one thing. Control the head, control the horse. The link that controls the whole body is right here in between the ears. If we can't control that, we can't control the horse. So in the case of that horse running past us, we need enough control of their head that we can pull it back and disengage the hindquarters, which is going to make them face us. If this was a wild, completely untouched horse, the first thing that we have to do to teach the lead, once we're able to get a halter on it or a lasso on it, it's not going to walk behind us. It's going to shoot off. And when it shoots off, it's our job to disengage their hindquarters by pulling on their head. Now, whenever you start horses, and we start a lot of Mustangs and quarter horses that are fully grown, 10, 12 years old, 15 years old, and we're starting them. And in that case, it gets very difficult if they're too strong for you to physically hold on to. But it comes down to the same thing of pulling their head, disengaging their hindquarters. In that case, if they're too strong, then I'll use my pony horse to do the job for me because he's stronger. All right, guys, as simple as this. As soon as he passes the test, we move forward. The horse backs out of our space, and the horse goes with no pressure backing up, stays out of our bubble. As soon as we pass that, we're gonna go to first grade. First grade is undivided attention. To show me this, our lunging is a bit different because we were raised with Paso Finos at the highest level. So since we come from one of the world's most hot horses, we can't wear them out to get what you want. For centuries and centuries, people have been wearing horses out to get what they want. If you go to dressage, it's long line until you get what you want, okay? If you go to natural horsemanship, we round pin until the horse faces up. Punchline means we wear them out to get what we want. Since I come from the Paso Fino, it's an endurance breed. If you wear them out, by the end of the week, they'll wear you out trying to wear them out. It just doesn't work. You have to work with the grain. So we're gonna try to do everything at the walk. I simply point her off. Now what I'm looking for here is I want her to walk and look at me at the same time. I ask nicely. If I wave the rope, that's a warning. If she doesn't heed my warning, I'll put pressure on her. So I come from one of the world's most hot horses, and a lot of people think if they have a hot sensitive horse, that you have to be careful around a hot horse. You have to be careful around a sensitive horse. Folks, I'm here to tell you, if you have to be careful around your horse, you're creating a horse that you'll have to be careful around, okay? The pressure is not an issue, it's their reaction to that pressure. If you can't put pressure on your own horse without them taking you, that tells you more about the lack of respect that they have for you and less about what you did wrong. So you'll notice, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. I want her to keep walking that circle and look at me at the same time. Now guys, I have spent my entire life on a horse ranch, and I spent my entire career traveling the world, going to as many mentors as I can. In the past 4 or 5 years, I've been riding 400 to 500 horses a year at my clinics, all horses that I don't know. Can you imagine people are getting hurt on horses that they do know, that they see every day? So how are you gonna protect yourself with a horse that you don't know, and you're riding 12 of those a day? It's very simple. You're gonna have to speak the language of the horse. A lot of folks try to train the horse their language, and it can be done, it just takes a lot of time. But when you get done with that, you have to train the next horse to speak your language as well. We're supposed to be the smartest being on the earth. If we add a little pressure to ourselves to speak their language, you only have to learn it one time, and then you can go anywhere in the world and speak to any horse, whether it's 3 or 30, whether it's a pony or a Percheron, anything in between. And horses are very binary creatures. It's either give or take, pressure release, alpha or beta. I know this. A horse is going to do 3 things from the saddle: buck, run, and rear. All 3 things, they have to have their head locked out and centered. So if their power is in a straight line, our control is to the left and the right. So I want to make sure that I can control her, get her head to left and right, not only in the ideal scenario, because is there anybody here, raise a hand, anybody here believe we live in the ideal world? Oh, no? Okay, didn't think so. So the idea of training a horse in the ideal scenario, that's rubbish. What's that? You want the horse to be uncomfortable and then see what their reaction is. So whenever I'm pressuring her to see how she handles it. So many of us want to ease into it. Oh, well, this is a new horse and she's a rescue and she's hurt people and this and that. Whenever you ease into it with a horse, they're making their decisions in their mind. In their mind, you're communicating with them and showing them that you're the beta and they're the alpha. There we go, that's what I want to see. What I want you to notice is the more that she turns her head to the side, how her head starts to drop. And the reason that this is important, all horses, any breed, no matter how hot, how cold, when they drop their head below their wither, they release an endorphin that kills adrenaline. That's why you see all your 23 and a half hours of the day with their head down getting fatter. Right before they blow up, right before they blow across the field, across your yard, across the stall, their head pops up and their nose pops out. So they're telling you again and again, anytime that I'm about to act wild and do my own thing, my head's gonna pop up and my nose is gonna pop out. So our ability to be able to drop their head at will is our ability to turn the villain off. You're going on a trail, that you're going in a show, that you're going in a parade, and when they're about to get excited, see right there, every time I move my rope, how she picks the head up. Just by leaving my hand down and not out in the wind, it's suggesting that she not only gives it to the inside, but that she drops it down as well. And the more times that she relaxes and drops that head, the easier she's gonna be. She just passed kindergarten and first grade. First grade is giving your undivided attention. I believe we have that. She's not snorting. She can walk a circle and look at me. This is my introduction to the horse right here. I'm the guy that they bring in when no your horse. I'm the guy you bring in whenever you're thinking about that's my daily job. I'll ride anything you can strap a saddle to. But if the horse doesn't back out of my space easily, I'm not gonna ride. If the horse doesn't drop his head below my head, I'm not gonna ride. And this is one of those things that I learned, again, from having numerous mentors. I didn't learn this from a riding mentor. I actually learned it from a driving mentor, one of my first ones. I spent a winter with a self-sustaining farmer, Belgians, mules, drafts, all kind of big horses. And he would get a mule and a mammoth mule from the sale, and the mule would be 17 years old. Her name was Patsy Cline. He would hold the collar out, and if Patsy Cline, you know how mules can be about their ears, if they didn't drop her head and just take it off, it's like, I reckon that mule right there ain't broke. I'll say, but Mr. Kennedy, that mule's been driving longer than I have. Michael, I reckon that mule ain't broke. And sure enough, you would hook up the teams, and the one that would give you the trouble was the one that didn't drop their head. A horse can't tell you any clearer if they pick their head up for whatever your excuse is. Oh, because they don't like the bridle, because they don't like the wormer, because they don't like their ears touched, their head shot. All that is just excuses. If a horse picks his head up and stands his ground, what's the difference between that and a little banty rooster? What's the difference between that and two walruses fighting? Two gorillas slapping on their chest. When the horse picks his head up and stands his ground, it's telling you, no, you're not the boss of me. No, you won't control me. If I can't get a horse to drop its head, and this is how I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put my hand on the nose band, my other hand is gonna pet the forehead and drop up here. You're gonna find a lump of bone on the pole, we're gonna put some pressure right behind that, and we're gonna put downward pressure. If she drops it an inch, we release. If she drops it a head, we release. Your excuse is just an excuse. Your excuse is just an excuse, okay? I've been at clinics where you have these warm bloods and you have draft horses and you have quarter horses, and they're at the rescue, they're missing half the ear. They have mites in their ear and they're jumping off like the Titanic sinking whenever you go to reach for them. All these physical reasons why they shouldn't give you their head. And the fact that they do give you the head is a sign of respect. If she didn't give us her head that lightly, we would just go back her up again, move her from side to side, back her up again, move her from side to side, and she will drop her head. Every horse, you just spend a little bit more time on the ground and you'll spend less time on the ground. Everybody with me? And the reason that we do everything the way we do it, I put my hand right here on the nose band and my other arm is in front of her like this. I don't want to get summer teeth. Do you know what summer teeth are? Some are here, some are there, some are dangling in your mouth. I don't want that. So since I have two hands, I put them right here in front of me. If she was to freak out and say no and sling her head around or throw a strike or a bite, she would simply push me off and I'd be right here, still adding the pressure. Perfect, perfect. So, to me, kindergarten and first grade, super important. So many horses that come in, people bring me a bucker or a rear or a horse that flips over. Here you go. And when I start walking it, no, get on. You want me to get on your bucker to prove to you that it's a bucker? That cast on your leg shows me. It's okay. Working on stuff in the saddle when there's a problem is working on the symptoms of the problem. So many of the horses that come to our clinic that have horrible problems, by the time that you get their respect and their undivided attention, the problems melt away, right? What I mean by that is, in our society, people don't get hurt on wild horses because there's only a few of us that are off their rocker enough that if we see a horse snarling or you can't even grab his face or it's running and you have to rope it, get the bright idea, let me swing the leg over and ride. So everybody that gets hurt on trained horses. So if you get hurt on a trained horse, that means it either doesn't respect you or it's not paying attention. In either case, it's easy to get in trouble. So now that we have that, now we can start the training. Can anybody here tell me what's the horse's most primal instinct? Flight? To run. It's that simple. They'll run before they eat. They'll run before they drink. They're out there in the field. Everybody's head in the grass, getting fatter. One runs, they all run. They hear a sound, they run. The clouds move, they run. They feel like running, they run. While they're running, they run. It's a horse's most primal instinct to run. It's a human's most instinct to freeze. Shell shock. People with the utmost training, and when it goes wrong, they freeze. They even have a term for it. So that's a disastrous recipe. If our horse is explosive and we freeze up, that's not going to work. So we need to change that around. So the first thing that I'm going to train her to do, and I say train her because kindergarten and first grade is just establishing our relationship. I'm the alpha, you're the beta. I'm the boss, you're the employee. I'm the driver, you're our vessel. The first thing that I'm going to teach her how to do is how to freeze. And I know what you're saying. Michael, I've read the Natural Horseman book and they say move the feet, move the feet. I promise, she's going to move. When a car breaks down, it doesn't go. When a horse breaks down, it doesn't whoa. I promise she's going to move. But the first thing I want her to do to freeze. I'll start throwing this over, just touching her. I'll start with the lead, just like this. If she didn't have a saddle on, I would cinch prep her. Since she does have a saddle on, I'm going to go to the back girth area. I'm going to grab her flanks. I'm going to grab her back legs. And remember, I just met this horse 5 minutes ago. People ask me all the time, how do you ride all these horses? Everybody's problem horse that you've never seen, don't know. Well, the great thing about horses is they are honorable creatures. If you ask them a question, they will tell you the truth. If you get surprised by a horse, you didn't ask it the proper questions. So I want to know, is she a striker, a kicker, a bucker, a biter? There we go. The way that our program works, one of the things that I hate the most about the American school systems, if a kid came into kindergarten at 5 years old and could pass kindergarten on the first day, the final exam, why waste a year of his life there? For him to get bored, for him to become unengaged? The other thing I dislike is as quickly as they pass my test, I move on to the next thing. The other thing, if they are failing a test, instead of holding them back and continue to do the same thing with the same standardized test and the same teacher in the same way, that's the whole point of traveling around and going to different cultures and having all these tools in your toolbox. So if this horse doesn't understand something one way, we'll teach it in a different way, in a different way, in a different way, but not leave the grade until they pass. Because why are you going to go to second if they can't pass first? So many people are riding and the horse can't pass kindergarten. I'm going to bring this to her nose, from her nose to her cheek, and I'm going to stick with her. Wherever my flag stick goes, I go with it. I don't want the flag to be on one side and me be on the other. Let's touch the most sensitive areas, the legs, the front legs. There we go. Everybody talks about the left and the right side of the horse, and they're absolutely right. They have almost 360 vision because they're a prey animal, but that almost will get you busted. So not only left, right, but they have 4 quadrants. Left, right, above and below. That's why you ride a broke horse and you come under here, you go over a wet spot in the sand and they jump it like the Grand Prix. Or you reach your hand in your pocket these days for a phone and they lose their mind. Not a lot of work up here. Keep in mind, I touched her first. I worked on the least sensitive parts to the most sensitive, always keeping everything on my side first. So if she was to explode off of this, and again, we assume nothing because we don't know her. If she was to explode right now, there's only one option for her to go, away from me. When she goes away from me, I know a lot of folks and a lot of books say, approach and retreat, approach and retreat. A lot of folks who read those books, they call me to help them with their horse because they're still sensitive. What I mean by that is over the centuries, the educators of horsemanship have all come from cold horses. And because of that, they have a horse that wants to give. So we have a gaited horse, because 200 years ago, they weren't horse shows. They were to get from point A to point B. This is the Cadillac of 200 years ago. Okay? If you're in Europe, it's Icelandics. If you're in Latin America, it's the Paso Fino. Just depending upon where you are, a gaited breed is just a means of transportation. Since I come from them, I have to kind of make the system to work with the grain of the horse. If you get with an Arabian and you show them the flag and they give a little effort, you take it away, and then you bring it back and you take it away, you'll desensitize that horse for 10 years and it'll still be running. It'll still be spooked. If I was to blast off right now, I would go step for step with her until she stopped. Release would come from her stop. Same thing, as soon as she passes the test, we just make it bigger. So I appreciate her freezing up, not moving. I imagine this is her favorite speed forward. Alright. As soon as I get the horse freezed up, obviously this horse doesn't want to move. Great. Woo-hoo. Everybody here is studious, or you wouldn't be here listening to the experts that are coming today. So if you're here in 2019 studious, you know that flexing a horse is a good thing. And you know desensitizing a horse is a good thing. Everybody agree? Yes? Okay. Both of these things at a standstill is about as valuable as the steering wheel and brakes in a parked car. When's the last time that you got hurt at a standstill? That you hadn't been drinking too much. We all get hurt in motion. The freeze. The next thing I want to do is move their feet. I'm not going to pull this horse in a straight line because a lot of horses can sole up, is Western term we use, freeze up and not move. But the first foot that moves just extends, and they can come like this. And the second that first foot moves, they pop. So the first thing I'm going to do is in a circle. Disengage those hind first, which is a fancy way of moving. Disengage those hindquarters, no problem. Okay, so the steering wheel still works. Something scary on her back. There we go. Two things I want to see whenever there's something spooky. Do I still have a steering wheel? If she takes me redneck skiing across this round pen, she's not ready to ride. I don't care how broke she is. Because if something scares her and just a little fear says, oh, you're not controlling me anymore, well, that tells me if she gets spooked when I'm on the trail, if she gets spooked when I'm in that arena, I won't physically be able to control her. But the fact that she has something scary on her back, and I did turn her, good job. The other thing, I want to make sure that she can back even though there's something spooky on her back. Guys, that test right there that you just saw, that wasn't too painful, was it? It wasn't too bad, all right? With that test right there, whether it takes me 5 minutes or 50 minutes, I will ride any horse after that test right there. And it doesn't matter what you tell me about the horse. I just came from Green Bay, and up at Green Bay, I was at a jumping farm, and they brought me horses, and everybody on the staff was broken. The trainer had 2 broken arms from the same horse. The other trainer had a broken leg that was shattered completely with pins and bolts and stuff in it. But none of that matters. So many of the problem horses that we have, the reason that they become problem horses is because of their story. People wonder why the horse acts different, but they treat them different. What I mean is, say they start the horse, and by accident, or because the trainer wasn't paying attention, it dumps the trainer on his head. Oh, that's horrible, we feel bad. At that point, it's not a killer horse. That trainer tells the next trainer, watch out, that horse is a little tough. The second trainer comes in and is already, okay, you're a little tough. Because he's not using because his survival instincts are kicking in, he doesn't treat the horse the same way, and the horse gets a hold of him too. Whether with a bite or strike, he's already telling the horse, you know, I respect you. I'm worried about you. As soon as you show this horse that you don't know how worried and scared you are of them, they take advantage of that. And then you might get 2, 3, 4 trainers, and they're all hurt, and then you get somebody like me, and my job is to treat them the same. I treat you as if you know nothing. I assume nothing about you, and I treat you as if the horse that I want you to be, not the horse that you are. Right here, we're just gonna get a little contact on the inside rein. We're gonna step up and over. Notice that we pause here. Everybody know why we pause here? As long as it's a two-step motion, if she was to buck in half right now and just launch us into the fence, we can step down, engage her hindquarters, and step right back up to keep the pressure. The other thing is I want to activate that other eye before I swing my leg. So many times, horses are getting on. They accept you on the left side, and just like a masters of the dark arts, you vanish, poof, and now you're over here. Well, if they catch your leg up here in the air and that spooks them, it takes a small surge when your leg's here for them to be off balance. The next thing you know, you're grabbing them by the flank and you're holding onto their neck, and it snowballs into a bad situation. Good girl. So believe it or not, a redneck like me from South Mississippi, from the sticks, I'm getting my pilot's license so I can get here easier. One of the things that I found out in pilot school, in my instructed hours, was it's safer to fly a plane than drive a car. One of the major reasons for that is there is a pre-flight check. Basically, it's a fancy way of saying there's a laminated sheet for dummies like me. Check this, check this. Until you get all these things checked, don't even turn the motor on. You should do the same thing with your horse. Hop on, horse should stand still. Great, you passed that. The next thing, check the steering wheel. I just reach down, ask the horse to flex. And all she has to do to pass this is flex to both sides without moving her feet. And she just did. Great, steering wheel works in the garage. Now one more thing. Before we leave our driveway, we want to make sure the brakes work. So as soon as I get that little hump out of her back and get her walking forward, I'm going to stop her. The way that I'm going to do that, you see, I work everything on this earth with the halter to start. My arms completely, sit back. Oh. Do you know why I extend my arms completely? If you handbrake a horse, hey ho. Well, my hands and wrists are pretty dainty in comparison to her head and neck. So if I just do this with my hands and she sticks her nose out, she thinks that my hands, that this bridle is movable. I don't want her to have that inclination. I want her to think that this is the final say. We're talking about crystal clear communication in this clinic. I want everything that I say through these lines to mean something. So if I stop her like this, she has to pull my whole body out of the saddle, but she doesn't want to stop. And a lot of times, whenever folks have a horse that's flipped over, they're scared to stop her. But I saw her back up from the ground, so I know she could do the same thing in the saddle. So if she gets too locked up here, she's going to keep turning her. Oh. There we go, big release. And she's just looking for the way out. Everything that a horse does, bucking, rearing, biting, kicking, when you get out of your mind that that's bad behavior and understand that that's just horse behavior. In a field, a horse kicks another horse, they get a release. Pressure, release, cause, effect. If they bite another horse, they get a release. If they run away, they get a release. Let me get a move forward. What? Better? Oh. There we go. Now remember, in the beginning, they think this horse is a bucker, and it's just in the back of your mind, and you can't make your body do what it's supposed to do. I'm telling you, you gotta let go of that if you plan on fixing the horse. And if you personally are gonna fix the horse, it's a very simple method. If the horse's difficulty level is above your comfort level, you will not fix it, period. And that holds true for trainers, for experienced people, for people who have 40 years on their saddle. If they get a horse underneath them, that their difficulty level is above their comfort level, what happens is you go in survival mode in your brain, and your timing is off. And timing is not this wonderful esoteric thing. Timing is simply releasing the pressure at the right time. If you do that, you can get a horse to communicate with you and look to take your lead. There we go. So you see, under saddle, she's a little bit more squirrely, and she's looking for the way out. What I mean by that, you see her kind of ducking her head down into the inside. She has a rounded up back when we started. Let her walk out here a little bit. Oh. So that duck is so that she doesn't commit to the stop. Again, she's just doing that, looking for a way out of the pressure. All right, guys, there's two kinds of pressure. And understand, I have a view on things because I really wanted to cross-train and learn from each and every horseman that I could. Any horseman that had any knowledge along my way, folks who didn't have knowledge, I learned from them. If you go to two farms side by side, there's two kinds of pressure. There's constant contact where you hold, the horse gives, you give. You hold, the horse gives, you give. And there is pulsating pressure. Tap, 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 tap. If you go to one farm, they say constant contact's the only way, pulsating pressure's the devil. And then you go to the next farm, pulsating pressure's the only way, constant contact's the devil. The fact of the matter is, it all works, okay? All horses speak the same language, but no two horses are the same. So I'm gonna use whatever I can communicate with that horse. If I see a horse is gonna mule up on me like she is, that she's just gonna lay on my hands, I'm not gonna get in a tug-of-war match. I got in a tug-of-war match one time when I was 12, and my grandfather, he stepped out of the front of the house, sticks in Mississippi, old man in Wranglers, beautiful gray hair like Elvis Presley. He had aviator shades on. He got a cowboy killer Marlboro in his mouth. He said, "Boy, you get dumber by the day." He said, "Son, don't get in a pissing match with a skunk. You'll lose." And then he walked away. That's it. That's the great life advice. Later on, when I reached adulthood, it started making sense. You don't want to argue with the horses. You don't want to argue with the horses where they're strong. We are always, if you ever get physical with a horse, stop what you're doing. Find a way to outthink them. As soon as you start putting muscle into it, your brain activity goes down. Okay? The lighter you can stay on the horse, the easier it's going to be for you to outthink them. And the only two advantages we have above a horse is one, that we're smarter than the horses. Even me, and I'm from Mississippi. Number two is that the horse is more sensitive than we are. They can feel a fly land on them when they're trotting. So two things. Outthink them, use their sensitivity. And two, don't wear them out before you start working. What I mean by that is this. Do I have any prize fighting fans in the UFC fans or boxing fans in the crowd? Nobody watching boxing? Nobody know? All right. Every boxing match from Muhammad Ali to today, every single fight you ever see, you see the fighters in the background warming up on the pads, training with their coach. You say, why in the world would you waste any energy right before the world's most strenuous sport, fighting? The answer's simple. If you go into that ring or octagon cold, they'll freeze you up and shock your body, shock your system, and then you will get pummeled. Okay? When you warm up, you get sweaty, you get the adrenaline going, and now you get punched, and they even have a term for it, rolling with the punches. You can just take a punch. Back when I used to box, and I didn't say I was a good boxer. You take a couple punches, you just roll with them. People have been doing wrong by the horses for centuries. Okay? Let me wear this horse out and get him huffing and puffing and her sweating, the sweat pouring off of her and her nostrils big. And now I'm going to try to communicate with her, and now I'm going to try to move her around. I just dulled her up and prepared her for the fight. The fact that she's so cold is the fact that she's listening so well. All right, so we did the three things that I wanted to see. She stood still, she flexed, and she stopped. Now let's see what she's like. She's supposed to be a spotted saddle horse. So let's see if she has any gait in her. All right, so right there is just pure trot. That doesn't mean she's not gaited. All right, so your gaited horses are going to be similar to your dressage horses, your English horses. For a gaited horse to gait, people think that they're worlds apart. They're both horses. They communicate the same way. The only difference is gaited horses have to have a headset. Their head has to be up. Because gait, all that means is that one foot's hitting the ground at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, taka, taka, taka. Or if you're riding on a Tennessee Walker, you have a flat tire. In either case, they have to have their head up for their back feet to land first. So if I ask her to move forward and she just trots off, she has her head down. She has her head down like a quarter horse, so she's trotting like a quarter horse. A lot of folks don't know that you can get a gaited horse of any breed, and you can get them reining just like a quarter horse. The problem is, folks that know how to rein don't ride gaited horses. And folks who ride gaited horses don't want to have anything to do with reining trainers. Well, since there's such segregation, nobody knows that every horse can do anything you want. I haven't met the first horse outside of a non-gaited horse to gait. Every other discipline, a gaited horse can do dressage, okay? A quarter horse can do dressage, a gaited horse can rein. You just have to know how to get it done. So right now, I'm not worried about this horse's gait because she's in trouble just going around. What I mean by that is she was having problems just going around without getting spooked. So instead of worrying about gait, this is where we gotta keep it in our mind. You can't worry about your Harvard degree if you can't pass high school. So for a gaited horse, for a quarter horse, for a warm blood, if you're worried about them jumping or doing dressage or reining or doing any of this stuff and they're not broke, they don't just listen to what you say. They're not calm in their own skin. They're not comfortable being themselves while you're on top of them. If they can't do that, they're not going to be clear enough to understand what you're training them. So just by spending a little extra time making sure you have control of the head and the body parts, instead of worrying about gait right now, we just worry about getting her broke, controlling her different body parts. And I know the book says there's 5 body parts: head, neck, shoulders, ribs, hindquarters. I believe we only need to teach 3, head and shoulders. Where's the neck going to go? And if we control the shoulders and the hindquarters, where the ribs going to go? They have to go wherever you ask. If we can gain better control of our horse first, and then worry about the college education, they're going to graduate so much faster. A lot of folks, they see our progress and they believe that we're skipping steps or we're cheating. We're not skipping steps. What we're doing is we're making it abundantly clear, crystal clear communication for what we're asking. So in this case, I feel like I have control of the horse's head. The next thing I want to make sure is I have control of her hindquarters. And to do that, I'm simply going to reach down on these reins and say, excuse me, move your butt. All right, perfect. With her head, I disengage the hindquarters. You want to talk about crystal clear communication? On any breed of horse that you have, on any size horse you have, if you stop thinking about these as reins or frame or pulling if you think about these reins as the manual override, that you can move any body part of your horse just with the reins, that you can stop, go, turn, do whatever you want just with the reins, and that your legs don't make anything happen. Basically not kick a horse to do what you want. If you kick, because they receive kicks from other horses who weigh 1,000 pounds. So the odds of you kicking them and moving a body part, it only happens if they want to. But what we can't control is their head. You see how small the head is compared to the body? If I can control her head, I can disengage her hindquarters. See the resistance to the side? Notice how to the side. Use her head to disengage her hindquarters. All right, guys. Anything that you do with a horse, if you kick a horse twice and something doesn't happen, please stop kicking. All you're doing is desensitizing it and making it harder for me or whoever has to fix your horse next. Okay? You have to stop thinking. Instead of letting them soul up, there we go. Theodore Roosevelt, my favorite president, walk quietly and carry a big stick. Okay? There's not a reason to get so loud with them. If you, every time they give you any resistance, you step it up a notch, and the moment that they give it to you, you give back. All right, so she's stuck here. There we go. We asked her with her foot. She moved. There we go. So the reason that this is so important is whenever you get to, you're blessed in the opportunity that I've been given to go around the world and work all these different horses, you get to see the different patterns. Do you know how much racism is in horses? How much breedism is in horses? Oh, dumb bloods. The warm bloods are dumb. Oh, Arabians, they're hot and crazy. Oh, gated horses, you know, they can't slow down. What's the conditioning of those horses? Arabians have two sports. You could be a show horse or a race horse, you choose. Both of them are, give me what you got. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And show horses, they flag them, but not to desensitize them, to wake them up. And then, of course, you try to make that a trail horse and they're hot. Warm bloods. I have so many that they import horses from Argentina and Germany, and the only thing they know how to do is run through a chute and jump jumps with somebody. Then when they get here, we put somebody on their back and point them towards the jump. A lot of times they jump good for a year or two, but if they have no horsemanship and no communication on the ground, sooner or later it unravels, and then I get a call. Hey, we have this horse that is inappropriate. Each and every rider that we put on his back, do you mind giving it a go? Oh, sure, no problem, I'd love to. Another day at the office. You get a thoroughbreds, all they want to do is run. When we get the chance to start them, they're like ranch horses. There's no difference. They're calm, quiet, because we treat them like a ranch horse. We ask them to do different jobs. When we get to start gated horses, they act like ranch horses. They act calm, quiet, and easy. They can walk at any speed. So for gated horses, the trend that I notice is so much of the gated industry is a straight line. Ride the horse down the trail, okay, or a road, and put a bit in its mouth and lay against it while it's laying against you. Well, then they have no bend. And I'm here to tell you folks, if you can't stand still on your horse and ask it to give its head, get off. Thank you, crazy Uncle Bob. I don't want to ride your horse today. I feel ill. If you can't turn this horse's head at a standstill, every bit of momentum they get going forward, the faster they go, they only get stronger and stronger. So if you can't turn the steering wheel of the car, nobody would go in their garage, start their car, the steering wheel doesn't move, and they're like, it's okay, Honda will take care of me. Nobody would do that. But people around the world every day ride a horse that they can't control its head. All right, so we have his hindquarters done, and this is normally the way that I do it. I start with the head. I control the hindquarters. Once I control the hindquarters, I come for the shoulders. And the way I do that is keep that horse moving forward. Forward being the emphasis. And look how that horse is going to start moving out of the circle just because I bring her head towards her. So I can take her face and bring it towards her shoulder, and her shoulder is going to pop out. Imagine, if you can control the front of the horse and the back of the horse, they don't have too much to say about what goes on in the middle, do they? Do the same thing to her stiff side. You see her just pivoting. Not what we're looking for, but we don't have enough forward yet. So push those shoulders out. I'm gonna give you guys a little training gym to take home with you. Notice how this horse is. The horse flipped over and broke somebody. That's how she ended up in this position. Flipping over is rearing. If I hear rear, I hear resistance. Okay? If the horse reared up, that means the person who was riding pulled in one direction. The horse said no and pulled in another direction, and they ended up. Most of the time, the horse learns to rear because when they rear, the people starfish. They take their hands and legs off of the horse. Oh, the horse gets a release. Everybody here is horse trainers. Whether you get paid for it or not, if you're coming in contact with a horse, you're a horse trainer. Now, if you're training them for good or for bad, that's yet to be seen. But they learn from each interaction, and they learn bad habits from releasing at the wrong time. They learn the good habits, and we fix those bad habits from not releasing. So, telling me that, I can just tell she was a stiff horse. I imagine she's stiffer in her mouth than she is right here on her face. What I'm going to do next is called a spiral. Everybody have in their mind what a spiral is? Remember the Jungle Book? The snake had a spiral in his eyes? We're going to turn this horse to the inside. One hand only. This is great for runaway thoroughbreds. This is great for blown up barrel horses. This is great for gated horses that you can't slow down. Touch them, touch her, touch her. When she gets so small that she's walking, I'm going to lock this left hand into my leg. No pressure on her. She's calm and easy. Now I'm going to ask her to back by touching the outside. Thank you. There we go. And release. Excuse me, Don. Why would you back a horse crooked? And look, I say crooked because I hate when trainers use big words like, we're going to be backing on the diagonal. Hey, you've been riding a horse your whole life. You never went to school. What you talking about a diagonal? Can't even spell that. Okay, so we back the horse crooked. Do that. Look how big her head and neck is. All of her power right here in her head and neck. And a straight line, that's her power. So whenever we get her off center, we take half of her power away. So we can do twice the work in half the time. So I'm never gonna argue with a horse in a straight line. If I can't work soft, get their head into flex at the vertical, which is a fancy way of saying point their nose downward, I'm not gonna try to. I'm gonna say, okay, if you wanna do that, this is what I'll do with you. Thank you. All right, so the finished goal with reins, or what you're able to do with the frame, is to be able to drop their nose to the center, put their chin on their chest if you ask for it. The key to getting their head down and straight is the ability to pull to the left and the right. I don't like to fight with the horse in a straight line where they're strong. I get the ball in my court. Now she can't take her face away from me because I have my hand locked into my leg. So when I ask her to back up, you see how she tried to throw her head away? I just come back and try it again. Excuse me. I don't have to worry about the repercussion. I don't have to worry about her flipping over backwards on me. Now what you're gonna find is each and every time that she throws into my hand, it doesn't move. When she thinks it's unmovable, the next thing she does is give to it. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am. Louder. Oh, that's a great one. So, what do I do in the case where she gets pissed off? Okay, well, I always say it's better to be pissed off than to be pissed on. But that's nor here nor there. If I flex her to the side and ask her to back and she throws herself on the ground, this is the great thing. Get up, go right back to it. Like a little toddler that throws their self on the ground. Matter of fact, in Green Bay I had a thoroughbred that she was a bucking bronc. I said bucking, folks. It's a nice Christian community. A bucking bronc. She goes buck, I mean, with her mouth open, her tongue out. Of course, I fixed her from the ground too. I fixed her from the ground first and got on. She knew she couldn't buck because I had her head and I had her hindquarters. How are you going to buck if you can't control your butt? That's where the propulsion comes from. So the next thing she did was throw herself on the ground. Okay, since I had her crooked and sideways, she couldn't do it flip over. She just laid down like a little poodle. What did I do? I smacked her on the butt, didn't even get off of her. She got back up and I went right back to her, put her in the same position, and she leaned back like she was gonna lay down again. I disengaged her hindquarters and put her right back in the same position. If we are to stop her to get off, and I have a horsemanship academy for any of you folks who want to become horse trainers down in Mississippi, and I have folks have that happen, and they jump off. Oh no, it's laying down, it's dying. No, that's what the little kid at Walmart wants you to think whenever he's laying down on the ground crying because you didn't get him the candy. You didn't give me the candy, so I'm dying. That kid's not dying. Tell him to shut up, come on, let's do it. Again, don't release at the wrong time. The other thing, if you have a horse that has one good defense, when you take that defense away, expect for them to try something different. Now they're gonna try more half-hearted because it's not their go-to. It's not their go-to, but they're gonna try something else. Right there, look how the next thing that happens, they're looking for that answer. See what I mean? It's okay that she showed teeth. It's okay that she stuck her tongue out. It's okay that she's cursing me. Okay? Through telekinesis. I can hear it right now. Her voice is nice and clear. It doesn't matter. Okay? Guys, crystal clear communication. We're running low on time, so let's get it like this. Where I'm from, you can tell everything about a person seeing them in Walmart. And there's two kind of Walmart mamas in Mississippi, okay? You have one mama in Walmart that she is saying, Jeffrey, if you don't get down from there, I swear, Jeffrey, I'm gonna count to 3. 1, 2, 2 and a quarter, 2 and a half. And Jeffrey is on the top shelf playing, throwing things out, acting like a baboon in Walmart. And then you have the other mama, mama number 2. See those nice kids right there? That's mama number 2. Mama number 2 says, hey, honey, will you go give me a gallon of milk? Yes, mama. Walks right over there, grabs a gallon of milk that's halfway bigger than the kid, and brings it back. Here you go, mama. Thank you. She didn't even raise her. I couldn't even hear her. That mama talks in a whispering voice. You know what the difference is? Child number 1 knows that mama's all talk, yappity, 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 and it's gonna do nothing. Okay? Mama number 2, that kid has the fear of God put in her. She knows that mama is bipolar. Okay? Mama can grow fangs and talons. And when I say bipolar, A good horseman is like a good mama. They're bipolar. The same woman who gives you sugar cookies and fixes your lunch in the morning, okay? That same woman, if you come home with a bad note from the teacher or the teacher calls home, you will see her other side. And then when you bring your friends home over and they say, oh, your mother's so sweet, don't let her fool you. I swear, she has another side. Walk quietly, but carry a big stick. Okay? What I mean by that is anything I ever ask a horse to do, I'm only going to ask for one thing at a time, but that one thing is going to happen. One way or another, however I have to make it work, it's going to happen. And they're going to get an immediate release for trying. So I tell my students that I'm lazy. If I get a tough, oh man, this is a rescue horse, this is a flipper over, I'm only going to work hard for 1 or 2 days with your horse. What I mean by that is, in that 1 or 2 days, she's going to figure out that I'm the alpha, she's the beta. Anything I ask is going to happen. So the rest of the month, it's just getting miles. She just goes over any obstacle I want, goes on the trails for as long as I want, goes any speed that I want. Anything that I try to teach her, she's going to listen. Those are easy light days. It's only the first day or two that she realized that she's in boot camp. This whole idea of easing into a horse that you don't know. Do they ease in whenever you send your kids, oh, poor baby, and then send your 18-year-old to the military? Oh, do you think they get to Parasol, the bus stops and they have a greeter? Would you like a latte? Would you like to rest for the night tomorrow boot camp? No. The bus hasn't even stopped yet and there's drill instructors on that bus. Get off my bus, get off my... They're setting the tone. And the thing that the drill instructors and we have in common, we don't care who you are. We don't care what you're from. We don't care what kind of parents you have, what upbringing you have, if you're poor, if you're rich, if you're broke, if you're black, if you're white. We have a standard. You're a horse. We know what you're capable of, and that's what we expect of you. Anything less is not going to happen. And it's amazing what a horse can do if you're not too busy telling them what they can't do. You have to, the biggest limit that a horse has is us. We have to get these preconceived notions that a horse can't do something out of our head. So many times we come to clinics and the only reason the horse can't is because the owner really believes that they can't. Notice how soft and easy and light this horse is getting? We've done more work with this horse in the 30 minutes, hour that we've been here, piddling around, asking for her head, asking for her body parts, than somebody that would get on this horse and ride her for 5 hours in a straight line. Yes, ma'am. Okay, what do you do when a horse takes off so fast that you don't have time for emergency stop? Number one, did you see that groundwork? I'm creating a pattern of freezing. If you don't know what to do, freeze. If you're scared, freeze. If you're lost, freeze. If I had a little bit too many drinks and I get off balance, freeze. If you create that pattern from the ground, it will show up in the saddle. The next thing, a lot of folks say, I don't care about body control. You don't care about body control. That's the same thing as saying, oh, since you drive a Jeep, you don't need a steering wheel. Since we have all this resistance taken out of her, she's not going to make a full-hearted move on us. If she gets terrified, she's either going to go right or left on this loose rein, and I'm going to face her up. And since I've been working nonstop on this resistance, I know that whenever I reach down for this rein, I'm going to get a response. Guys, give me a problem. Name out a problem that you can tell me that isn't the head. What I mean by that, your horse is barn sour. The barn sour isn't the problem. The fact that the horse sees the barn and you can't stop them from going back to the barn is the problem. Your horse is buddy sour. The buddy isn't the problem. Oh, it's just so buddy sour. That doesn't matter. Okay? What matters is when he wants to go back to his buddy, you can't stop him. Oh, your horse bucks. Bucking isn't the problem. The fact that when the horse starts bucking, you can't stop them is the problem. Control the head, control the horse. Any problem you're having, if you make it simpler before you make it more complicated, if you gain control of the horse's head, you're going to gain control of the horse. In closing, thank you guys so much for having us. If you have any questions, I know I threw a lot at you in a short amount of time. We have a membership program where we go step by step and make videos, 8 videos a month for you guys, and have a full library so you see just how we shut it down. This right here is how we start a horse from scratch. Okay, we start hundreds of horses every year, and if she didn't know anything, we would have started her the same way. Got walk, trot, canter, over the obstacles, do all these different things, and she wouldn't have sweat, even if she was her first session. If you want to see how that's done, just check out our booth, and you can check chip 17, or more importantly, over there by the crab cakes. Thank you guys so much. We have a lot of viral videos. Viral videos is what got us out of the sticks in Mississippi. We do a lot of shenanigans in these short videos. If anybody saw a T-Rex on a horse, or a minion on a horse, or a clown on a horse, or pretty much anything on a horse, We're the ones that make those dumb videos. You can check that out at Gascon Horsemanship on Facebook or the Horse Guru, and we'd be happy to have you guys on there. We're going to take a drawing of people who like our page, and somebody here is going to get this halter so that you can work with your horse at home, and we're going to do that by the end of the weekend out of folks who have liked our page since they've been here. So the Horse Guru on Facebook. Thank you guys so much. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our video. Make sure to get in the comments below and give us your feedback. Let us know what all problems you're having, if you're having any problems with the steps, if there's more videos or problems that you would like to see. We just want to better help you bond with your horse and help fix some of your equine problems and reach your equine goals.